Hey everyone, it's Bradley. Welcome back to my channel. Portland gentlemen, it is great to have you here today. First things first, please remember to like and subscribe. Subscribing really helps the channel. So if you haven't subscribed, it's free. Go ahead and do it. I really appreciate it. Today's video is going to be another one about the BrewTools fluid control system. And this one's going to be pretty basic, pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you how to plug everything in step by step by step. I'm also going to take apart a couple of the solenoid valves and show you how those work and show you one of the kind of pro tips that I have to keep the solenoid valves themselves operating for the longest time possible, taking the best care of them you can. Research it, mash it, boil it, ferment it, drink it, analyze it, share it. Home brewing is good. So here's the power brick. It's got a 3 meter or about 9-foot cord, and it has a little adapter piece so you can use it in whichever region you're in. I'm here in the US. So the power brick is simple. Plug it in. My plug is down here, so bear with me while we plug that in. Then simply run it up or to your IO module, wherever that may be. It goes into port 1 for power and just plugs in. Next up is the display cable. Just like all the rest, it plugs in. It goes on the back of the display. I'm not going to unmount mine, but literally clicks into place, and then your display is on. Then take that, plug it into the IO module in the display port, at which case the unit will start to come alive. Next, we're going to power up the relay module for the heating element. It's got a jumper signal wire, and this one goes into port 3, the exit relay right here on the back side of 2. That plugs in, and then it plugs in on the front where it says signal. Next up is the power cord for the expansion relay for the heater. The one in the US, you have to put your own plug on it. I prefer this plug that lets the cord sit more flush or flat. The best price I found for these is on Amazon, believe it or not. I'll go ahead and link those. This one's real simple. It plugs in with the big LP connector into the unit, but first you plug it into the wall, or vice versa. Not too big of a deal. So plug it into the wall. And then plug it into the module, and the input position, it only goes one way. Next, we're going to do the heating element plug. This one's straightforward. It only plugs in one way, just like the rest. Go to your heating element and plug it in, and then take that cable up to the relay module and plug it in. Now we're getting into the solenoids. So for this one, I'm using a 2-pin connector for the solenoids. I have mine marked with blue to indicate cooling, just to make it easier for video and easier for me. Plug it into the coil, like so, and then run the wire up to the relay module. And this one goes in relay 4, position 1. That is the glycol solenoid installed. Next up is the gas out. For this, I'll be using a solenoid valve with a coil. Make sure the arrow is pointing up, indicating gas out, and the BrewTools 2-piece airlock. This thing is just, they've really rethought the airlock. Pretty cool. And that'll sit on top, on my choice, anywhere you want really. I put it here on the front post. Then this one gets the same treatment. These cables are the same. That's why I have them marked. Once that's plugged in, route it however you want. This goes in the relay module in the back there on relay 5, position 2. Next, I've got another solenoid set up with the arrow pointing down for gas in. I have a gas ball lock post on top of that. On my setup, I have it here on the back. Of course, you can put it anywhere you want. It sits on top of my tank right here in the back corner, and it's secured in place with a tri-clamp. Connect the pigtail on the coil to the jumper cable, we'll call it, and get that up to the relay module. That guy goes in. This one goes in relay 6, position 3 in my setup. Next, we're going to install the pressure sensor, and this thing is just sweet. Got that little bit of blue inside of there. You know she's bespoke. It goes on simply with a 34mm gasket and tri-clamp. And it has its own cable, of course, and they only go one way. The female end plugs into the sensor. I wish this one had a 90, but they do not offer those. So route that up to your I/O module, or wherever it is. Once you have it routed, plug it into slot number 8. And now we are looking at pressure. As this is a BrewTools tank, I'm going to use a 34mm pressure sensor. I believe this is 170mm. It's got good length on it. Really sweet sensor, low latency. That one I'm installing here on this front port, but you could put it on any port you want, and it secures in place with a tri-clamp. The temp sensors have a unique 3-wire LP plug. This makes it just super, it actually goes together really, really easy. Just take it and then route the cable however you want. I put mine in slot 13, temp probe 1. Now the system is fully set up with all hardware currently available. All right, so that's how you plug it in. Wasn't that exciting? Next up, let's take a quick look at the solenoid valves. Let's take a look at the BrewTools solenoid actuated valves. How do they work? How do they do what they do? How should you best take care of them? Because there's something to take care of, that's for sure. Starting with what could be a gas in or out solenoid valve. This one I happen to be using for gas, but they are interchangeable. So here's a look at this valve up close, as well as the pigtail and that arrow that I keep going on and on and on about. Let's look at the plug, because I like the plug. We're gonna take this guy apart. You're gonna need a wrench. I'm gonna use a crescent because I'm Bradley and too lazy to go to the toolbox to get the right size spanner. But it's not hard to get apart. Just break it loose and then use your fingers. Look at these. I believe these are made in Italy. Italians make some good stainless steel components. There's the shaft. This is what that coil acts on and creates a magnetic field and energizes a little stopper thing with a spring we're gonna look at. But first, just use my beloved wrench again. The wrong wrench for the job. Be careful, there is a little spring in here. It's held in place with magnets and stuff, so it shouldn't go flying, but you never know. There's a tiny little spring, and this is what acts on that plunger assembly we're gonna look at right there. There's the 2 orifices, and this is basically what turns off and on flow, whether it be in or out, and there's a little seal on this plunger. This is a lot like a sprinkler valve, but this isn't a sprinkler valve. The glycol valve is also super similar. There is that coil. It's not wanting to focus, but just so we see it, there it is. I put it back together, and it's really, really simple. Here is the coil itself. This is a nice little coil, and they go on and off really easily. You can move them, you can spin them. You know, the moral of the story is don't be afraid to take these guys apart. If you have to, it's not a big deal at all. This stuff's super easy to work on, and you're not gonna hurt anything. It's always good to know how to take care of your components. There's my beloved wrench again. Get it tight, hold it in place. This is the way I want it adjusted. This works best in my setup. Here is the pigtail adapter, and you'll need this to hook up to fluid control with the LP connector as soon as we focus. And this guy slides on there, and it has a little screw in there, and this just holds the package together. Make sure you have good contact and it doesn't pull out. So again, it doesn't have to be super tight. We saw those threads were brass, the insert, so it's just tight enough just to hold it, and that's all it needs to do. This is the BrewTools 2-piece airlock, and this thing blows me away. This is the way to go with airlocks if I'm ever going to use one, and this is for the spooning valve. You could use it obviously just on an open fermentation The center unscrews and it's all captured. There's nothing to flop around and bounce and get lost. It has these little holes that are machined right there, and they let the gas out. Just like anything, the gas has to come out, and this is super clever. This is absolutely, you got to have it, and it'll work really, really well. Next up here is the glycol valve, and this is the one I've seen and heard of a little bit of issues, so I'm putting keg lube on this. Sometimes these, the way you have them mounted, you want to mount them in a way that water can get off. These will condensate as there is glycol at a cold temperature flowing through them. I'm putting the keg lube on here to ensure that the water really can't get in there, and believe me, this works. The coils can potentially get some rust on the coil, not that stem necessarily. But with all of this lube, once it's lubed up, it's really going to help. And I pack it full. You know me, you've been watching for any normal amount of time. I lube it up. But that is my number one tip for any of these. Lube them, especially the glycol valve. It's definitely going to save you a headache down the road, and it is just highly, highly recommended. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching to the end. I really, really appreciate it. Be on the lookout for another video. I'm going to do the software here pretty soon, as I'm expecting some large improvements via an over-the-air update any day now. So stay tuned for that. If you guys have any questions or you want to see anything in specific, let me know, and I will incorporate that into the next video if it's at all possible. So remember, I've been Bradley. Home brewing is good, and I'll see you real, real soon. Fluid control system. Fluid. It's control. System in fluid. They call it FCS. That's FCS. Yeah, we're not gonna do singing. Maybe we'll auto-tune me. Auto Portly. That could be something dangerous.